Hello, I'm Terry Williams, President and founder of Panache Career Strategies. I am passionate about helping people become the best of who they are. As a certified and licensed executive presence expert, I help people with their professional skills through consultations and training in a number of focus areas, which include communications, gravitas, leadership, etiquette, and appearance. Welcome to today's seminar, STEM Professionals, Why Professional and Executive Presence Are Important. The topic of executive presence and professional presence today yields over 73 million results from Google in 30 seconds. Equally, Amazon has over 1,800 books on the topic of executive presence. In this lesson, I'll share with you why professional and executive presence are important today and how we can help you. Let's take a look. Today's agenda is a bit robust, but I would like to share that we will focus on two major areas for today's seminar. First, why is this topic important? And second, what is professional and executive presence? Our courses on the how to demonstrate professional executive presence will be discussed later. Our agenda, as you can see, is to focus on the two major areas so that we can move through the topic. In 2013, at the National Academy of Sciences, President Barack Obama shared, "We want to make sure that we are exciting young people around math and science and technology and computer science. We don't want our kids just to be consumers of the amazing things that science generates. We want them to be producers as well, and we want to make sure those who historically have not participated in the sciences as robustly, girls and members of minority groups here in this country, that they are encouraged as well. We've got to make sure that we're training great calculus and biology teachers and encouraging students to keep up with their physics and chemistry classes. It means teaching proper research methods and encouraging young people to challenge accepted knowledge." So, from a historical perspective, the Industrial Revolution spanned the 18th through the 20th centuries and created a myriad of jobs across the globe, in which less than 10% were STEM related. So, as you can see, we've progressed from the industrial age to the information age to where we're currently at now, which is the connected age. Today, STEM occupations account for more than 20% of jobs. "The future of the economy is in STEM," says James Brown, the Executive Director of STEM Education for the Coalition in Washington, D.C. That's where the jobs of tomorrow will be. Data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics support that assertion. Employment in occupations related to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, is projected to grow to more than 9 million between 2012 and 2022. That's an increase of about 1 million jobs over 2012 employment levels. According to Brookings Institution, as of 2011, 26 million U.S. jobs, 20% of the jobs, require a high level of knowledge in any one of the STEM fields. STEM jobs have doubled as a share of the jobs since the Industrial Revolution, from less than 10% in 1850 to 20% in 2010. In fact, when you Google the word STEM, you'll receive about 55 million results in 30 seconds. The Department of Commerce Economic and Statistics Administration reports that women in STEM fields are often underrepresented, holding less than 25% of the jobs in the U.S. and 13% in the U.K. In the United States, studies have been conducted to explain this pattern, such as mechanisms in recruitment and hiring processes. On average, women in STEM fields earn 33% more than those in non-STEM professions. They also experience a smaller wage gap compared to men. However, women can be found as leaders in top professions around the country. So, there is good news also. In June 2014, Forbes magazine reported the top 10 cities with the most STEM job openings right now. Number 1 was Washington, D.C. with 45,000 positions listed. Number 2 was San Jose, California, which is photographed on the right, with 39,000 positions listed. And number 3 was San Francisco, California, with 30,000 positions listed. So that's good news, and that means that the economy is working, and as the projections estimated, more and more jobs are becoming STEM related. We do have a copy of that article which lists the top 10 cities. The cities also range from East Coast, West Coast, to the Midwest in the Chicago area. It's very interesting. So with the good news comes the bad news. While job growth is terrific news for the U.S. economy, the annual Global Talent Shortage Survey from Manpower Group finds that nearly 1 in 5 employers worldwide can't fill positions because they can't find people with soft skills, regardless of their technical qualifications. Specifically, companies say that candidates lack in motivation, interpersonal skills, appearance and image, and punctuality and flexibility. In addition, researchers state that 75% of careers that are derailed are due to emotional incompetency. Loss of clients is almost always due to a lack of appropriate response to a complaint or situation. Great companies are made from great employees. We couldn't agree more with this statement, which is from careerbuilder.com. The results of the survey captured the true cost of a bad hire, serving as an important reminder of the value of a good hiring process and good employees. According to the survey, 41% of companies surveyed said that a bad hire last year cost them at least $25,000, while 25% of companies surveyed reported that a bad hire cost them at least $50,000. How can companies avoid this unnecessary cost, and how can they retain and encourage the growth of good employees? A very good example of a typical work environment is the 1957 film 12 Angry Men. In the film 12 Angry Men, it explored many techniques of consensus building and the difficulties encountered in the process among a group of men whose range of personalities and age added intensity and conflict. No names were used in the film. The jury members were identified by number until 2 of them exchanged names at the very end, and the defendant was referred to as the boy, and the witness as the old man, and the lady across the street. Across the U.S., workplace bullying is on the rise. Often masked as bad behavior, manners, or etiquette, bullies are obvious. They throw things, slam doors, engage in angry tirades, and are insulting and rude. Others, however, are much more subtle. While appearing to be acting reasonable and courteous on the surface, in reality they are engaging in vicious and fabricated character assassination, petty humiliations, and small interferences, any of which might be insignificant in itself, but taken together over a period of time is costly to the business enterprise and poisonous to the work environment. So there are a number of stories that have been shared through Business Week. Georgetown University has done a study, Columbia University, Harvard, MIT just celebrated its 20th year of its charm school. The Center for Talent Innovation released the blockbuster 2012 study on executive presence, and the Partnership for 21st Century Skills identifies that social skills is the weakness in most workplaces today. Those who create a great first impression, oftentimes in business, they are referred to as someone with executive presence and is said to be charismatic. You can feel their presence. They enumerate a certain level of power, and at the same time, they display a sincere feeling of warmth. You know they are with you. They are engaged, they listen, they have a certain authority that allows them to influence others. They are not arrogant, overbearing, and they don't bully people. They know how to empathize. Credibility. Expertise and knowledge about a topic, and people trust the knowledge shared is honest, has integrity, and therefore is believable. A person may be knowledgeable, but his or her influence will be lessened if people think the person is biased or has personal motives for advocating a position or a product. How well do you know your topic? And what is the source of your comments? What is your agenda? Likability. Our affection towards someone is likability. We are also more comfortable with extroverts because they show us more emotions. The more expressive and demonstrative someone is, the more comfortable we are with them. The introverts may not have a great eye contact. They may speak slower, softer, display fewer gestures, and we may read this as a sign of deception. They are hiding something, but likability is much about warmth and friendliness. Don't read into those signs in a negative way. You may miss an opportunity to have a great relationship with an introvert. Extroverted and introverted leaders excel in different areas and can learn from one another. Studies show that introverts are better at leading proactive employees because they listen to and let them run with their ideas. Meanwhile, extroverts are better at leading passive employees because they will have a knack for motivation and inspiration. While extroverted leaders can learn from their counterparts to make a more careful approach to risk and let others speak up, Keynes says introverted leaders need to push themselves to be more social. This is a photograph of John Lilly. He's the former CEO of Mozilla. Mozilla was a $12 billion organization. As an example, he would force himself to walk the halls and make eye contact because he hadn't realized how much he offended people when he didn't greet them. Now, this is not the kind of extrovert we are exactly referring to. This guy looks arrogant, definitely over assuming, and this is not someone that you want to sit next to. Attractiveness. Now, attractiveness is a very controversial topic. Attractiveness is someone we identify with or aspire to. We like their physical appearance, their dress, their views, and their status. In the book Beauty Pays, Dr. Daniel Hammermesh shows attractive people are more likely to be employed, work more productively and profitably, and receive more substantial pay. I am of the belief that everyone is attractive. It is often what we do with what we have that affects our attractiveness negatively. We are a visually oriented culture, and we like symmetry. And a display of confidence also is attractive as we aspire to have that confidence. While we may find attractiveness may make you more likable, we also find likable people to be attractive. Power. When someone is perceived as powerful, influence occurs through a process known as compliance. Compliance results when the receiver accepts the persuasive influence of the source and hopes to obtain a favorable reaction or avoid punishment. Showing respect for hierarchies is the expected behavior, but don't overdo it. Don't be overly deferential. To advance to the next level, you need to be able to take your seat at the table with these people. Do talk to them, do visit with them, and take every opportunity to engage with them. The second area we'll cover are communication skills. There's typically a minimum of 3 parts to this area: body language, interpersonal communications, and virtual skills. Before we investigate their specific characteristics, let's return to the Center for Talent Innovation report for an overview. Communication encompasses a variety of verbal and nonverbal ways you express authority, convey your confidence, and synthesize and articulate your expertise in both formal occasions and casual situations. Indeed, there are no small actions. Even gum chewing tells others whether or not you are C-suite material. We've mentioned the extremely intelligent individual who appears to have been shut out from the fast track. Often the root cause is a lack of polished communication skills. The person may have great ideas but simply cannot express them. His ideas get lost in translation. translation being the operative word, because communicating effectively is a complex behavior pattern involving verbal and nonverbal skills. Communication skills are compulsory. Every single interaction means something. Email, verbal communication, everything matters. Every time you communicate, it should reflect positively on you, says Dr. Anadade, Senior Vice President and Global Chief Diversity Officer for Sodexo. Body language. Body language is the silent message we often completely ignore. During the 1960s, Professor Mehrabian became internationally recognized for his research on verbal and nonverbal communication. The frequently condensed version of his findings state that 93% of the time we are judged by how we look and act, only 7% of the time by what we say. Let's take a closer look. In his pioneering fieldwork, Professor Mehrabian made two key points. First, that there are three elements in face-to-face communications, often called the three V's: verbal, or words; vocal, or tone of voice; visual, meaning nonverbal behavior or body language. And second, visual components communicate far more than verbal. In situations where the words are not compatible with the nonverbal signals, and people tend to believe the behavior and not the verbal message. According to Professor Mehrabian, we evaluate the three V's quite differently. His findings are often called 7%, 38%, and 55% rule, or the Mehrabian 7% verbal, 38% vocal, and 55% visual. His formula was refined under research conditions where there was incompatibility or incongruence between words and facial expressions when communicating feelings and attitudes. Over the years, Professor Mehrabian has made it very clear that his formula should not be used out of context or as an oversimplified interpretation for all occasions. For example, think of a speaker addressing a large audience, or a presidential debate for that matter. Unquestionably, body language is a key component, but in this situation, we tend to be more focused on the words spoken. Of course, we absolutely scrutinize the nonverbal cues, but to the point it is that our verbal content evaluation counts for more than 7%. Let's be clear, content is still king. Your words and message are key. But if you fail to convey confidence in what you're saying, we will believe your body language. Nonverbal communication or body language includes facial expressions and mannerisms. But another very powerful nonverbal communicator is clothing. People see you before you even begin to speak. Your body is covered almost 95% by clothing and accessories that send a strong message about you. We'll tackle that whole issue of clothing when we get to EP4, appearance. The second large subheading of communications is interpersonal communication skills. According to Dr. Mehrabian's research, body language accounts for what percentage of our communication skills? Just went over this. So, body language really is 93% by how you look and act, and 7% by how you're judged. Let's move into interpersonal communication skills. Here, there's three main areas: how to command a room and work any room, casual conversation, levity, and speaking skills. How do you feel about these stats? If you look at this and you think, what are the reasons that you keep a job, get a promotion, or win a new client? There's two reasons: your technical skills and your interpersonal skills. The answers for these statements are 15% technical skills are the reasons that you land a job and keep a job and get a promotion, and 85% interpersonal skills. Let's move to the area of gravitas, which is actions and behavior. So you've got the goods, you're the real deal. Gravitas is a rare combination of composure, compassion, and vision. Gravitas has two main components. The first one is about the 6 core traits of executive presence, and here they are. Confidence. So we're going to list the core traits by order of precedence, meaning their order of importance, to give you an idea of what each trait means and how we're going to introduce it. The second one is decisiveness, integrity, emotional intelligence, reputation, and vision. So if we're talking about reputation capital, you've got to be concerned about what are they saying about you? What is the reputation you've built up in your industry over the years? Here are the 9 key points that we advise you to be intimately aware of. You always want to observe and emulate. You want to watch closely the people who command respect in their organizations for behavioral cues. Proactively put yourself in situations external where you would rub elbows with individuals worth emulating. You want to increase your visibility. Actively seek a sponsor, a mentor, request to be put on a high-profile assignments, and consciously network with influential people. Be it chit-chatting with the right people before and after meetings or attending more formal events. You want to invoke your vertical in times of crisis and chaos. How you handle yourself in crisis when all eyes are on you is crucial. So figure out a technique to cope. Ask for specific feedback. As previously stressed, providing colleagues with feedback about sensitive subjects such as their appearance can be intensely uncomfortable. So it's up to you, the professional, to ease others' discomfort by inviting leaders you trust and respect to provide honest, specific feedback about how you're perceived. Provide assurance that you will receive their observations and suggestions not as critiques, but as constructive guidance, and dig deep to ensure you understand the real issues at hand. Whatever you hear, live up to your promise by listening versus reacting defensively. The choice to change will be yours. You also want to fake it until you make it, but what we say is you want to fake it until you become it. Be several questions deep. Don't be afraid to ask questions and appear unknowledgeable. Smile more often than not. People want to work with happy people. Invest in attire that fits your body and business environment. Looking polished and put together trumps glamour and high-priced designers. It need not cost a fortune to look good. Clean pressed clothes are the bread and butter of appearance. Opt for a few well-made, classic, and tailored pieces over a closet stuffed with too trendy and cheaply made options. Invest time and funds in experts such as tailors, store stylists, well-dressed friends, or mentors can help guide your attire choices. Suggest Farrow red wine. Early in their career, I tell women to go to Saks or Bergdorf's and get a personal shopper. Have someone speak with them about what works for their body type. Upper-end department stores and boutiques do not have to be your staple, but the input you'll glean from them, even from one visit, is priceless, and it can be applied for years when you shop on your own at less priced venues. Let's discuss appearance next. Let's briefly return to first impressions to address the realities of promotability. A frequently quoted axiom of HR professionals is dress for the position you want, not for the one you have. Words, in order to be considered for the role, you must look the part. It's a great strategy, but surprisingly a frequently misunderstood one. An IT new recruit may indeed have C-suite aspirations, but this is not to suggest a prerequisite for advancement is an Armani wardrobe. The real essence of maximizing your appearance is grooming. By grooming, we mean far more than just clean and tidy. A polished appearance is what we're talking about here. Intriguingly, appearance is the pillar most likely to be challenged by aspiring business professionals. They often misinterpret the whole idea of appearance as not important, even shallow, or perhaps see it as pressure to conform. Why is there so much resistance to this pillar, which is the easiest one to achieve? The simple answer is I'm judged on my own merits. That's how most of them feel. The point is that you don't have a chance to be judged if you cast off appearance as a superficial component of executive presence. How you look translates into respect for yourself and others. The price of entry into so many places is your appearance. The first bar you must hurdle in order to have your other faculties being assessed. How you look translates into respect for yourself and others, and of course, once you're in the room, you have to prove you should stay, and looking the part makes it easier to do. Of course, some industries have a greater tolerance for conspicuous individualism, but good grooming and a polished appearance are never out of place. Occasionally, we see iconic leaders whose appearance sets them apart. Think of Steve Jobs in his ever-present black turtleneck, but these executives have earned the right to their wardrobe choices. We see Bill Gates here and Warren Buffett also. The issue of grooming is subjective, but it is also one that's very valid. Here we see our model. She is completely unmade up. To include her hair, it looks like she just got out of the shower. And here we see her more groomed, more polished, more executive looking. Which young lady would you hire, or which young lady would you want to work with you? In wrapping up, let's refocus on the two primary reasons for the presentation today. First, understanding why professional and executive presence is important. Second, understanding what professional and executive presence actually is. It doesn't matter what your professional priority is: customer service, supervision, team building, or leadership. We have a number of practical techniques to teach you and can help you achieve success using professional and executive presence. Understanding that we can help you with our comprehensive training and focus you on how to demonstrate professional executive presence in your workplace is invaluable. We guide students to make positive first impressions, have strong interpersonal communication skills, demonstrate appropriate actions and behaviors in the workplace, and a professional appearance and image, which are all critical components in eliminating problem areas like what we saw in the presentation today, which were motivation, interpersonal skills, appearance, punctuality, and flexibility. will build confidence and skills so that those problems do not exist in your work environment. We're excited about helping you in one of our courses. Thank you for your time today. If you have any further questions, please contact me at Panache Career Strategies. My telephone number is listed right above on the slide. And thank you again. It's been really fun.